Hi. If you go back 2 or 3 videos, I was starting to introduce a statement of values. And a statement of values, I was introducing my statement of values. But we would all have an individual statement of values. And the hope of Project 2045 is that sometime within the next 20 years, we can figure out a collective statement that we could all agree on, at least to a large extent. Maybe 70% of us would be wonderful. It's really hard to get 70% of Americans agreeing on a whole lot of stuff. But let's aim for that, at least. And so I had just introduced the first 2 statements, and I would like to introduce the next one. So the first one was taking care of all the children. That seems to be the most important one. And then also that we all should have access to nature. We should all equally own nature. And at this point, most of us don't own anything at all. So the third statement is society functions to support the creative endeavors of all adults in the context of fulfilling their basic responsibilities to the whole, facilitating, not hindering, people's innovative ideas and entrepreneurship so they can be co-creators. Work is worthy of reward. Okay, so this means all of us have something we want to do, something we want to be, something we want to express. All of us want to feel that we made our mark on the world in some way. And the idea of an adult, being an entrepreneur or coming into their own, is what we call self-actualization. And that can only really happen on the basis of already fulfilling more basic needs, such as the need for safety and security, the need for food, shelter, and that sort of thing. And so at this point, we would really have very little hope that everybody could be in the space where they can feel and be self-actualized, because we haven't even covered everybody's basic needs. So that comes first. But the point of life is to be able to express ourselves, to learn who we are, to grow, to become a loving and responsible human being who can also parent other beings, maybe our own children, maybe not, it doesn't really matter. But basically, we also really should be encouraging each other to start a business, to be a great artist, to be a farmer, to write, whatever it is that each of us wants to do. So at this point, in terms of work, right, we are told that we can have a career, and our career seems to mostly consist of working for maybe a big corporation or a small business or something for a long, long time before we can get into a position where we can make our own decisions and maybe, have people under us. So even when we do get to that position, we're usually living somebody else's vision, because very few of us would have the same desire right from birth to work as a particular corporation. So yes, I would say that it would be good to encourage everybody to have their own business. But even more, I think it's really important that people have time. So I'm not really going to talk about it much right now, but I think we have to sort of replace what we've lost in terms of access to the planet with some kind of a basic income, unconditional basic income. And then we could have either a guaranteed jobs, or we could have guaranteed part-time jobs. And I'll make a video about what I think is best in terms of economics. But we need to be able to have at least survival level without having to give away all of our time and without having to, just focus on making money. That is not what life is about, just making money in order to survive. But for most of us, that's what life has become. So I think we can all agree that we would prefer something more than that. And in order to have that happen, we have to support everybody's desires. So, and then the fourth statement in my statements is that all people are born with the right to live within a clean and healthy environment and have an equal responsibility for preservation of the planet for future generations. I think this is obvious, but at the same time, as obvious as it may be, it's not happening because there are many corporations who are polluting the land where they exist. They pollute the rivers. They do mining all over the place. They cut off the tops of mountains. And yes, they are meant to replace it, but often the replacement is much less than what was there originally. How about if you're fracking? Can you replace what you did? No, if many times fracking creates like a load of small earthquakes. Like if you turn on your taps, the water can catch on fire, that sort of thing. That's not really very reversible. And so we've really messed up the environment a great deal. So clearly, no corporation should be allowed to mess up the environment. They should be held responsible to totally clean it up. But that doesn't happen. Generally speaking, this is what's called an externality. It's left to the taxpayer to clean it up, to pay for cleanup. And actually, there's many, many areas which have never been cleaned up. And essentially, there is a super fund supposedly for this, but it's very depleted, and we haven't yet figured out how to just do what needs to be done without claiming that we don't have any money. So that's a very important topic, and economics and the environment are very tied up together, and also the current corporate structure. Okay, I'll deal with the next two values in my next video.